So, quick backstory. With Terrifier 3 coming out October 11th, which will be this Friday, actually, right now I'm filming this. This is a Monday night. So, this Friday, Terrifier 3 will be out. Last week, I went and watched Terrifier 1 and 2. The reason that I watched them is because if there's a 3 coming out, I'm thinking these movies may be pretty good. The backstory part is I never watched either one in the past. I've seen them advertised here and there, or maybe I'll, kind of skim past the thumbnail. I'm like, oh, whatever. The reason that I never watched it is because, in my opinion, the thumbnail, it seemed very cheesy. It's like this weird, creepy clown. Like, I thought it was like an indie, less than B-list kind of guerrilla film, and it made its way to streaming. They did their work to get distribution, and bam, now it's on streaming. I didn't know how serious Terrifier was in the horror culture. Before I say anything else, definitely be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when I drop the next reviews. This is going to be a short review because there's not a lot to say. I'm definitely giving spoilers because, again, these movies have been out forever. Both Terrifier films have zero story and zero structure. It's just one of the reviewers that I watch, he uses the term torture porn a lot, not to describe anything actually adult content, but simply, if you want to say watch porn or food porn, torture porn. It's just pointless, grotesque gore. That's literally it. There is no backstory. We don't know who the Terrifier is, what his goal is, what does he want. Like, there's no character arc. There's nothing. This is just a dude who dresses up as a clown. He's pretty much a mime because he doesn't speak, and he's basically immortal. In the first Terrifier, it begins with the Terrifier not in his makeup yet. We don't see his face, and he's like sharpening tools and creating little weapons and things like that. And after he's made himself up and put on his little get up and all of that, he goes to, I think it was a pizzeria, and he just sits there and harasses two girls by staring at them uncomfortably. Now, what I will say about Terrifier is that, and I'm calling him Terrifier, he's called Art the Clown. That's the Terrifier's name, Art the Clown. He's played by David Howard Thornton. That dude, what he does with Terrifier, all while not speaking, is phenomenal. As far as what it takes to be Art the Clown and his approach to that character, it's amazing. To be able to tell a story with nothing but your face and random antics as far as like dancing or just kind of being silly and weird. I mean, he kills it. I won't say that his talent is being wasted because it depends on who you are and what you like. If torture porn is kind of your thing, if you like just random random gore for no reason, then cool, right? I was entertained in that regard. I was left wanting more in part 1 and 2 based on the lack of story structure. But it was entertaining to see. It kind of puts you in the mindset of like, I wonder what he's going to come up with next. How's he going to kill the next person? How, what is he going to do here? Oh, look at that. I bet he's going to use that in some kind of weird way. That's literally it. There's nothing else. It's like the writer just had an idea for a character, but either he didn't know where to go with the character arc, or either he just didn't care. It was just like, what can I have this dude do next? That's all Terrifier 1 and 2 is. Now, in part 2, and the writer and director, by the way, is Damien. I might say this wrong, and I'll tell you why. Just real quick segue. I'll tell you why I might say it wrong. I love Fire Country I think it's on Paramount Plus. The main character's last name is Leone. I feel like it's spelled the same way as Damien Leone, who wrote and directed this movie. It could be Leon, but I think it's Leone. If I'm wrong, forgive me. But yeah, it's like he just had a cool idea for a random mime clown, and he wanted him to be as terrifying as possible and kill people in the coolest ways as possible. Now, from a horror standpoint, in my opinion, we're in October. The coolest kill of the year goes to that psycho in A Violent Nature, where he like punches through this girl's back with like this hooked spike and reaches through and like stabs her in the top of the head with it and like pulls her head through her stomach and back. And that's like the coolest kill I've ever seen in my life. But the Terrifier, Art, he definitely gets, I don't know if I want to call it creative or what. Excuse the imagery, but I have to describe it. In part 1, Art takes this chick and strings her up by her feet. And I'll just say it this way. He takes a saw, and the camera creatively, without showing any nudity at this particular time, creatively shows us Art's eyes lining up this saw blade. Let me say this again. This woman is upside down, and he precisely lines up the saw blade. I don't need to say anything else. And he goes from here straight down with that saw blade. The only reason she ends up not completely in two halves is because he gets interrupted. But the only part left was like this much of her head. Everything else was completely split. I'm gonna call it the wildest kill that I've ever seen. I cannot believe that they wrote this way, and I'm just imagining who he might have talked to if he had a writer's room when they were at the table read. How did it go when you talked to everybody else and told them, yeah, I'm gonna have him like precisely line up this saw? Like that was crazy to me. But anyway, that's enough time spent on that. But you can see how kind of giddy I am about just the gore of it all. It's just fun kills. That's it. It's literally just fun kills. Part 1 and part 2 are just a bunch of wild, crazy kills. Both films are just showing how psychotic and insane Art the Clown is. I mean, he has moments where he's slowly torturing people. He'll take off a body part here and there. People will catch him like taking fillets off of people and eating a couple of pieces. He's a pure psycho. That's literally it. So in part 2, they tried to kind of give some type of backstory, but it fell short. It was basically like one of the main characters, apparently her dad, maybe he had some type of supernatural kind of divine power in a way, because there's a point where Art actually killed her, and her wounds, like literally, they magically heal, and she comes back to life, and she ends up killing Art. Part 3 is coming out, so obviously he's not dead. And I feel like that just was not explained enough, because I remember watching part 2 and I'm like, okay, is Art Freddy Krueger level now? Because it seemed like he had started infiltrating people's dreams. I was so confused. But again, I don't think you're supposed to understand. I really feel like art is just for horror lovers to enjoy an hour and a half of random gore and creative kills. That's it. So when part 3 comes out, of course I'm gonna go see it. I have my ticket for like 9 o'clock Thursday night. I expect the same, honestly. A few years have gone by since part 2, so I expect a little bit more creativity on the kills, but I just expect overall more insanity. You know, it's kind of like, okay, who is he going to pick to torture this time? Because in part 1, again, this was random. There was no... With Jason, we know why Jason does what he does. We know why Michael Myers goes after who he goes after. We know why Freddy was bothering who he was bothering. There's a backstory to each of them. And anybody who is not a part of those stories, they simply get killed for being in the way. Art's just like, all right, where am I going tonight? And he just goes to a place, and whoever's there, he's probably going to stalk you and kill you. And if other people come in the process, he's going to kill them too. And that's it. So I expect more of that for part 3. I think he picked his victims the same way in part 2. He was just in a place, saw some people, and was like, okay, you're next. And that was that. So that's my review on Terrifier 1 and 2. Let me know what you think about the films. Have you seen them? Have you not? Do you intend to see them before part 3 comes out? Definitely like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know when I drop the next reviews. See y'all next time.